In 1996, Hulk Hogan shattered his legacy by joining Kevin Nash and Scott Hall to form the New World Order. Overnight, they became the most hated group in wrestling history, but the audience wasn't just furious, they were unstable. Some fans didn't throw boos, they threw fists. A fan jumped the barricade and slid into the ring. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash didn't wait for security. Hall landed a series of stiff punches. Nash followed with stomps, then launched the fan across the ring. It wasn't a scuffle. It was a sanctioned beating, with no script, no mercy, and no apologies. It happened again weeks later. During a live WCW broadcast, a second fan tried to attack Hogan in the ring. This time even the referee joined the fight. Hogan and the official took turns pummeling the intruder as if the bell had never rung. And the madness didn't stop there. At an MTV spring break taping, fans began throwing rocks at the group during a promo segment. Kevin Nash locked eyes with one of them, leapt from the stage, and tackled the man in front of the entire crowd. The fan was held until police arrived. Scott Hall grabbed a mic and made it clear. "Get him out of here. When the show's over, we want to press charges. We'll come find you." The NWO didn't just invite chaos, they enforced it. If you crossed the line, they made sure you got buried under it. During an untelevised WWE house show in the early 2000s, likely around 2001 or 2002, Stone Cold Steve Austin was wrestling Triple H in what was expected to be a routine main event match. House shows are typically looser in structure, with no live broadcast and a more relaxed atmosphere. That night, the script was thrown out. Midway through the match, a fan stormed the ring and began throwing punches directly at Stone Cold. Security was caught off guard, but Triple H wasn't. Within seconds, he grabbed the intruder from behind and delivered a textbook belly-to-back suplex. As soon as the fan hit the mat, Triple H mounted him and began throwing closed-fist punches to the face. Even the referee got involved, landing strikes before officials could restore order. No official WWE footage of the attack exists, but Austin confirmed the event on his podcast in vivid detail. Triple H beat the snot out of that guy, and I appreciated him for watching my back. The fan wasn't big, he wasn't fast, and he had no backup. What he did have was the worst seat in the house, right underneath a very real fight. On May 27, 2002, during an episode of Monday Night Raw in Edmonton, Alberta, Eddie Guerrero faced Rob Van Dam in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. The match took place during WWE's Ruthless Aggression era, a time when the lines between scripted chaos and real mayhem were often blurred. Midway through the match, as Guerrero climbed the ladder to retrieve the title, a fan bypassed security, slid into the ring, and shoved the ladder. Eddie was knocked off balance but landed on his feet. Without hesitation, he turned and punched the intruder directly in the face. The punch wasn't for show. This was no soft working punch, and it dropped the fan instantly. Security rushed in and dragged the man out. Wrestlers are trained to ignore interruptions and stay in character. Eddie didn't. He reminded everyone that when a fan becomes part of the show, they'd better be ready for the consequences. In Lucha Libre, a wrestler's mask is sacred. It represents legacy, family lineage, and personal identity. To tamper with it, especially as a fan, isn't just disrespectful, it's an attack on the wrestler's very essence. At a live event in Mexico, La Parka was interacting with fans at ringside when one crossed the line. The fan reached out and tried to pull off La Parka's mask. Without hesitation, La Parka responded with a closed fist punch to the face. The fan staggered back on impact. Security moved in before he could test his luck twice. In lucha culture, the mask isn't a costume, it's a life, and La Parka made it simple. Reach for it, and you risk losing your own. On April 6, 2019, during the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Bret Hart was delivering a tribute speech for his late tag partner, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. The setting was formal, respectful, and completely unscripted. Until it wasn't. When Bret was mid-speech, a 26-year-old man wearing a Rastafarian-style hat charged through the barricade. He slid under the ropes and tackled the 61-year-old Hall of Famer to the ground. The crowd gasped and the live broadcast instantly cut to black. Security moved in, but ringside wrestlers acted faster. Former UFC heavyweight Travis Brown landed the first strikes. Dash Wilder, now known as Cash Wheeler, followed up with a sharp right hook that snapped the attacker's head back. He was pulled from the ring and arrested on the spot. Bret got back on his feet, restarted his speech, and finished it without missing a beat. WWE later confirmed that the attacker would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The man didn't just rush a stage. He rushed a stroke survivor in front of the entire wrestling world, and he walked away with one thing: a permanent reminder of why you never test a ring full of wrestlers. In 2009, after a WWE live event in Victoria, British Columbia, Chris Jericho was trying to leave the venue when he found himself surrounded by a growing crowd of fans. From the start, the situation was chaotic. Dozens of people surrounded Jericho, shouting, heckling, and blocking his path to the car. As tensions escalated, a woman in the crowd allegedly spit at him and tried to grab him. Jericho lashed out with a forearm, striking her in response. The situation quickly turned physical. Another bystander closed in and Jericho threw a second strike while shouting at the group. Within seconds, it turned into a tense standoff. Police arrived shortly after and broke up the scene. WWE later issued a statement defending Jericho, stating that he had been physically provoked and acted in self-defense. This wasn't a match. There were no cameras, no referees, no agents waiting in Gorilla, just one angry man, one hostile crowd, and no script to fall back on. During a WWE live event in the early 2000s, Linda McMahon was on stage delivering a promo, a rare on-screen appearance for the former WWE CEO. The atmosphere was calm and controlled. Until it wasn't. From the edge of the stage, a man jumped the barricade and sprinted toward Linda. His intentions were never confirmed, but his trajectory was direct. Before security could react, Triple H moved first. He lunged at the attacker, tackled him to the ground, and held him down until security arrived. The fan was removed from the building. Linda was unharmed. The show continued. This wasn't a match interruption. It was a direct threat to a non-wrestler, and Triple H handled it like someone who'd been waiting for that moment. In 2020, during the early rise of All Elite Wrestling, MJF had already carved out a reputation as one of the most unapologetic heels in the business. While feuding with Cody Rhodes, he crossed the barricade during a segment and entered the crowd, a calculated move designed to provoke maximum heat. It worked. A fan lunged at him mid-walk. Security moved in fast, but not before MJF and his bodyguard Wardlow made contact. The altercation was brief but physical. No injuries were reported, but the moment underlined how AEW's newer fanbase was still adjusting to the boundaries of kayfabe. This wasn't MJF's only incident. At a different show, he yanked a fan's beard during a promo. In another, he slapped the glasses off a heckler in the front row. But the most infamous moment came at AEW Revolution 2023 when he threw a drink at a child in the crowd. The boy was visibly upset, and AEW later issued an apology and gave him backstage access to smooth things over. MJF's character is designed to incite, but in a business where the audience is supposed to stay behind the rail, he's made a career out of pushing the limit, and sometimes pushing first. On October 8, 2012, during an episode of Monday Night Raw in Sacramento, CM Punk walked through the crowd as part of a live promo segment with Vince McMahon. The camera followed him into the upper seating area, a move designed to blur the line between performer and audience. As Punk delivered his promo, fans began crowding around him. One of them slapped him on the back of the head. Punk turned and punched the wrong man, Charles Schmidt, square in the face. Schmidt hadn't touched him. The strike knocked his glasses off and visibly stunned him on live television. WWE quickly cut to a different camera angle. Schmidt declined to press charges and WWE issued a formal apology. Punk later explained that he believed he was under threat and reacted instinctively. In a business built on controlled aggression, this was one of the few moments where the aggression slipped the leash and the wrong person got hit. In the late 1990s, WCW live events had a recurring problem: fans jumping the barricade. Some came for attention, others wanted to be part of the action. None of them were ready for Randy Savage. During one widely circulated incident, a fan entered the ring mid-match and charged toward Savage. Without hesitation, Savage sprinted across the ring and speared the intruder to the mat. He mounted the fan and delivered a series of rapid-fire punches, stiff, unprotected, and very real. Security rushed the ring, but Savage kept swinging until they pulled him away. The moment was so intense that he nearly struck a security guard who stepped in to help. His focus never broke. The intruder wasn't a fan. He was a threat, and Savage dealt with him accordingly. There was no promo, no post-match speech, just a man who'd been attacked in his ring and made sure it didn't happen twice. On August 25, 2015, after a SmackDown taping in Providence, Rhode Island, Dean Ambrose was walking up the entrance ramp to close out the show. A fan suddenly jumped the barricade and grabbed his arm. Ambrose turned quickly and appeared to throw a punch or shove in response before security tackled the intruder to the ground. The show had ended, but fan-captured footage surfaced online within hours, confirming the confrontation. WWE released a statement the next morning confirming the fan had been arrested and that security protocols would be increased at live events. No charges or injuries were publicly reported. This wasn't a spot, it wasn't staged, a fan crossed the line and got shut down before he even made it halfway across. On March 7, 2014, after a WWE live event in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Batista was walking to the backstage area when a heckling fan leaned over the barricade and began shouting insults. As Batista passed, the man reportedly gestured aggressively toward him. Batista stopped, turned, and pushed the fan back with enough force to knock him off balance. Security stepped in immediately to separate them. WWE issued no official response and no legal action was reported. Batista never publicly addressed the incident, but the footage was clear. This wasn't part of the show and it wasn't a joke. The match was over, the cameras were off, Batista still had one move left.